One of your chapters in Mike's Election Guide 2008 is how to elect John McCain, is how many Democrats does it take to lose the most winnable presidential election in American history? How many Democrats does it take?
Not many. I think Obama's done a good job of paying attention to not making some of the mistakes Democrats have made in past elections. It's really kind of up to us, the rest of us, Democrats or not, just to get out there and do what we can in the next 3 days to get people to vote. I mean, that's really what I think is the key thing, and not to be doing a dance on the 5-yard line before thinking that we've already scored the touchdown. And there's that famous incident there with the football player in the Super Bowl, Leon Lett, who had picked up a fumble, and he ran all the way down, and starting around on the 10-yard line, before he crossed over the goal line, he puts his arms out, like, woohoo, touchdown. And the guy from the Buffalo Bills came up from behind him and whacked the ball, caught up to him, whacked the ball right out of his hands. No touchdown. There's too many of us that are, and I know why we do it, because we've been so depressed for the last 8 years of having to deal with what's happened to the country. It feels like we're on that 5-yard line right now, and we want to start doing the dance, but there's no dancing allowed until midnight Tuesday. So everybody's got to go out and do what they can do in these next few days. And then you should participate in any kind of poll watching or whatever on Tuesday to make sure that things are honest and fair and no shenanigans are taking place.
Finally, Michael, you dedicate your election guide to 2 people. Explain who they are. Shirley Chisholm and Tony Benn.
Well, Tony Benn is a former member of Parliament in Britain. He's the older man in Sicko, the Brit, who talks about the British healthcare system. He has written over the years. If you ever get a chance to read anything that he's written, he's just always been very eloquent and said a lot of great things, and I've admired him for a while now. And so I dedicated the book to him. And also to Shirley Chisholm, because when I was 18 years old, the first time I walked into a voting booth and got to vote was in the Michigan primary in April of 1972. George Wallace had just been shot a few days before that. George Wallace ended up winning the Michigan primary. But Shirley Chisholm was on the ballot, and as an 18-year-old, I liked a lot of what she had to say. And so I voted for her, and that was the first vote I ever cast, and I remain proud of it to this day. She was a real fighter, a wonderful person, stood up for all the right things, anti-war. She was against all the evils that capitalism has put upon this world, and she probably would be called a socialist by McCain. It's a funny word, to me. All that stuff just sounds like what the nuns told us to do when we were growing up, that the last shall be first and the first shall be last, and that if you only have a few fish and a few loaves of bread, you're to divide them evenly so that everybody has a seat at the table. That's the way we were raised. That's the way a lot of us were raised. And for the other side to debase Obama for believing in those basic principles, that we will be judged by how we treat the least among us. It's, as Obama said yesterday, at this point it's just kind of sad to see John McCain and the others going to the dark side, the place that they've gone to. A sad way to end his career. So let's remain hopeful for Tuesday, but let's not assume anything, and let's all do what we have to do in the next 72 hours here to get out the vote.